Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing translation and explanation of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 7, Text 13. Deluded by the three modes of goodness, passion and ignorance, the whole world does not know me who am above the modes and inexhaustible. The whole world is enchanted by three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand the transcendental to this material nature is the Supreme Lord, Krishna. In this material world, everyone is under the influence of these three gunas and is thus bewildered. By nature, living entities have particular type of body and particular type of psychic and biological activities accordingly. There are four classes of men functioning in the three material modes of nature. Those who purely in the mode of goodness are called Brahmanas, and those who are purely in the mode of passion are called Kshatriyas. Those who are in the modes of both passion and ignorance are called Vaishyas. Those who are completely in ignorance are called Sudras. And those who are less than that are animals or animal life. However, these designations are not permanent. I may either be Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or whatever. In any case, this life is temporary. But although life is temporary and we do not know what we are going to be in the next life, still, by the spell of illusionary energy, we consider ourselves in the light of this bodily conception of life, and thus we think that we are American, Indian, Russian, or Brahmana, Hindu, Muslim, etc. And if we become entangled with the modes of material nature, then we forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is behind all these modes. So Lord Krishna says that men deluded by these three modes of nature do not understand that behind the material background is the Supreme God. There are many different kinds of living entities, human beings, demigods, animals, etc. And each and every one of them is under the influence of material nature. And all of them have forgotten the transcendental personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, and even those who are in the mode of goodness, cannot go beyond the impersonal Brahman conception of the Absolute Truth. They are bewildered before the Supreme Lord in His personal feature, which possesses all beauty, opulence, knowledge, strength, fame, and renunciation. When even those who are in goodness cannot understand, what hope is there for those in passion and ignorance? Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness are actually liberated. Text 14 translation. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entity are part of His energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entity belongs to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to the contamination of the inferior nature, matter, their illusion, is also eternal. The conditional soul is therefore called Nityabhad, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though the material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the Supreme Will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as the divine nature due to its divine connection, and the moment by the divine will, being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is Supreme Magician, the personality of Godhead, who is the Maheshwara, the Supreme Controller. Another meaning of Guna is rope. It is to be understood that conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by these hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by another person who is unbound, because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such a superior help, one cannot be freed from a bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of illusionary energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy and the surrendered soul, and out of his paternal affection by the living entity who is ordinary and beloved Son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender into the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of this stringent material law. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means into Krishna only and not Brahma or Shiva, although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are most on the level of Vishnu. It is not possible for such incarnation of Rajoguna passion, Tamoguna ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is a master of Maya, therefore he can alone give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas confirm this in the phrase Tvam eva viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradata sarvesam Vishnur evana samsaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Text 15, translation. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender into me. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself into the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. At this point, a question arises: how is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, the all-powerful personality of Godhead? Mukti, or liberation from the laws of material nature, is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that liberation is possible by simply surrendering into the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, then why don't these intelligent and hard-working leaders adapt this simple method? The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, and Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlada, Bali, and later on Mahadevacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya, and many others who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, and scientists, etc., surrendered to the lotus feet of Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but who pose themselves as such of material gain, do not accept the plan of a path of a Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of planning commission. The atheistic plan makes are described herein with the word dushkrita, or miscreants. Kritina means one who has performed material's meritorious work. The atheist planner is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist's brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Dushkritina, which indicates that his intelligent efforts are misdirected. In the Gita, it is clearly mentioned that material energy works fully under the direction of Supreme Lord. It has no independent authority. It works as the shadow moves, in accordance with the movements of the object. But still, material energy is very powerful, and the atheist, due to his godless temperament, cannot know how it works, nor can he know the plan of the Supreme Lord. Under illusion and the modes of passion and ignorance, all his plans are baffled, as in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Ravana, whose plans were smashed to the dust, although they were both materially learned as scientists, philosophers, administrators, and educators. These Dushkritinas or miscreants are of four different patterns as outlined below. The Mudas are those who are grossly foolish, like hard-working beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves and so do not want to part with them for the supreme. The typical example of the beast of burdens is the ass. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The ass does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of grass, sleeping for the while under fear of being beaten by his master, and satisfying his sex appetite at the risk of being repeatedly kicked by the opposite party. The ass signs poetry and philosophy sometimes, but this braying only disturbs others. This is the position of the foolish fruitive worker who does not know for whom he should work. He does not know that karma action is meant for yajna, that is sacrifice. Most often those who work very hard day and night to clear the burden of self-created duties say that they have no time to hear of the immortality of living being. To such mudas, material gains, which are all destructible, are life's all in all, despite the fact that the mudas enjoy only a very small fraction of the fruit of labor. Sometimes they spend sleepless days and nights for fruitive gain, and although they may have ulcers and indigestion, they are satisfied with the particularly no food. They are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for the benefit of the illusionary masters. Ignorant of the real master, the foolish workers waste their valuable time serving Mammon. Unfortunately, they never surrender to the Supreme Master of all masters, nor do they take time to hear of him from the proper sources. The swine who eat the soil do not care to accept sweetmeats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker who untiringly continue to hear from the sense of enjoyable tidings of the flickering mundane force that moves the material worlds. The second class of men called another class is Dushkritina. The miscreants is called Naradama, or the lowest of mankind. Nara means human being and Adhama means the lowest. Out of 8.4 million species of living beings, there are 4 lakh human species. Out of these, there are numerous lower forms of human life that are mostly uncivilized. The civilized human beings are those who have regulated principles of social, political, and religious life. Those who are socially and politically developed but who have no religious principles must be considered Naradamas. Nor is a religion without God religion, because the purpose of following religious principle is to know the supreme truth and man's relation with him. In the Gita, the personality of Godhead clearly states that there is no authority above him and that he is the supreme truth. The civilized form of human life is meant for man's reviving the lost consciousness of his eternal relationship with Supreme Lord Truth, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is all powerful. Whoever loses this chance is classified as an Naradamas, who get information from a revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, the extremely unfavorable situation, he prays to God to deliverance and promises to worship him alone as soon as he gets out of it. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being because he is eternally related with the God. But after his deliverance, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer also, being influenced by Maya, the illusionary energy. It is the duty of the guardians of children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in them. The 10 processes of reformatory ceremonies are enjoined in the Manusmriti, which is the guide to the religious principles, are meant for reviving God consciousness in the system of Varnashrama. However, no process is strictly followed now in any part of the world, and therefore 99.9% of the population is Naradamas. When the whole population becomes Naradamas, naturally all their so-called education is made null and void by all-powerful energy of the physical nature. According to the standards of Gita, a learned man is he who sees equal terms the learned Brahmana, the dog, the cow, the elephant, and the dog-eater. There is a vision of the true devotee. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the incarnation of Godhead as a divine master, delivered the typical Naradamas, the brothers of Jagai and Madai, and showed how the mercy of the real devotee is bestowed upon lowest of mankind. So the Naradhamas, who is condemned by the personality of Godhead, can revive his spiritual consciousness by the mercy of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is propagating the Bhagavata Dharma or activities of the devotees, has recommended that people submissively hear the message of personality of Godhead. The essence of this message is Bhagavad Gita. The lowest among human beings can be delivered by the submissive hearings process only, but unfortunately, they even deny giving a rural reception of these messages, and what to speak of surrendering to the will of the Supreme Lord. Naradamas are the lowest of mankind, willfully neglect the prime duty of the human being. The next class of Dushkritina is called Maya Partajnana, are those persons who erudite knowledge has been nullified by the influence of illusionary material of energy. They are mostly very learned fellow, great philosophers, poet, literary, scientists, etc. But illusionary energy misguides them, and therefore they disobey the Supreme Lord. There are greater number of Maya Partajnanas at the present moment. Even among the scholars of the Gitas in Gita, in plain and simple language, it is stated in Sri Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is none equal or greater than him. He is mentioned as the father of Brahma or the original father of all human beings. In fact, Sri Krishna is said to be not only the father of Brahma, but also the father of all species of life. He is the root of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. The super soul in every entity is a plenary portion. He is fountainhead of everything, and everyone is advised to surrender into his lotus feet. Despite all these clear statements, the Maya Partajnana deride the personality of God as Supreme Lord and consider him merely another human being. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after the eternal and transcendental future of the Supreme Lord. All the unauthorized interpretations of Gita by the class of Maya Jnanas outside the preview of the Parampara system are so many stumbling blocks in the path of spiritual understanding. The deluded interprets do not surrender into the lotus feet of Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow this principle. The last class, Dushkritina, is called Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, or those demonic principles. This class of openly atheistic, some of them argue that the Supreme Lord can never descend upon the material world, but they are unable to give any tangible reasons as to why not. There are others who make him subordinate to the impersonal future, although the opposite is declared in Gita. Envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the atheists will present a number of elect incarnations manufactured in the factory of the brain. Such persons whose very principle of life is to decry the personality of Godhead cannot surrender into the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Yamunacharya of South India said, "O my Lord, you are unknowable to persons involved with atheist principles, despite your uncommon qualities, features and activities, despite of your personality being confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the equality of goodness, and despite you being knowledged by the famous authorities or renewed from their depth of knowledge in the transcendental science and situated in the godly qualities. Therefore, grossly foolish persons are the lowest of mankind, are the deluded speculators, and the professed atheists, as above mentioned, never surrender into the lotus feet of personality of Godhead in spite of all spiritual authoritative advice." Which concludes the translation and explanation of text 15 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. Hare Krishna, keep listening. Thank you so much.